Hey guys, for math today, we're going to be reviewing some of the grid scores and things that I've noticed a couple of us having a hard time with the week before we went on spring break. It seemed like a point where we were struggling just a little bit. So I want to go over this again. We'll review today and we'll review tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I'm going to have a kind of simplified checkpoint for you guys to do to kind of show me what you remember about multiplying fractions. So let's talk about this problem we have here. Here we have 4/6 times 2/5, which tells me I have a fraction, 4/5, and I'm multiplying that by another fraction, 2/5. When I'm using the grid strategy or the rectangular arrays to help solve these, here's basically what that means and what that looks like. I think a couple of us get lost during this process, so to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what I'm doing, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick each of these fractions, 4/6 and 2/5, and I'm going to assign them to sides of the rectangle. Now, they need to be on perpendicular or opposite sides, or opposite isn't really the right word, but touching sides, I guess, because I don't want to put 4/6 over here and then 2/5 over here. They need to be on kind of opposing sides, not opposite sides. I shouldn't use that word, that's my fault. Not opposite sides, but opposing sides or perpendicular sides. So I'm going to label this side as 4/6, and I'm going to put my 2/5 up here on this side. So here's exactly what that means. I am going to split this side of the rectangle into 4/6. I'm going to split this side of the rectangle into 2/5. I know that seems a little confusing and a little weird, but I'm going to break it down for you guys to show you exactly what I mean, and I'll have you then follow along and you'll be able to do it on your own, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this 4/6 side. Now, when I look at the fraction 4/6, I know, because of what I know about fractions, that the 6 means that's how many parts there are of the whole, and the 4 means that's how many parts I'm using or how many parts I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and split this whole side into sixths. When I'm splitting an even number, I like to just start in the middle and split it in half, and then I can split for like 6, split into thirds just like that. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm only talking about 4 of them. So I'm going to put just a little star, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Okay. Now, we're going to come back to that in just a second, but I'm going to shift down here and I'm going to draw the same rectangle. Oops, make it straight. The same rectangle, but this side I'm going to do the 2/5 part. So my 2/5 part, I'm going to split this side of the rectangle into 5 pieces. When it's an odd number, it's a little bit trickier. You just kind of have to guess and see if you can make it even. I did an okay job. It's not perfect. But here you can see that I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to put stars next to 2 of them. Now, if I were a magic technology wizard, I would find a way to move this square on top of this square, but I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you imagine with me for just a moment that I did some magic copy and pasting, editing, movement stuff, and I took this whole rectangle and I just plopped it on top of that one. Oops. And this is what that would look like if I did that. It would look a little bit like this, okay? So now I have this side that's been split into fifths. Oh, gotta put my 2 stars, sorry. So I've got that side that's been split into fifths, and I've got this side that's been split into sixths, and I'm looking at 4 of them. So I can go ahead and get rid of this rectangle down here. I've copy and pasted it up above, so I don't need it down here anymore. And now what I'm going to do is take those sides that I started, and I'm going to fill in that rectangle. So what that means is if we look at our stars and where they are, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, right? So if I can fill in these squares kind of like that, I can make a whole rectangle inside this rectangle. Does it look super pretty? No, but that's okay. Because what I did is I took 4 of the 6 and 2 of the 5, and I built my own separate rectangle inside of that, okay? Now this helps me kind of visualize and see exactly what it is that I'm doing and how I'm representing 4/6 times 2/5. What that will end up looking like when I multiply my fraction, multiply straight across, is that I'll get 8/30. Now, I don't know about you, but just looking at this rectangle, I can tell that there aren't 30 there. Now, what I was saying is that this helps me visualize how I represent 4/6 times 2/5. And what that looks like when I multiply across just on my fractions is that 8 times 2 will equal 8, and 6 times 5 will equal 30. Now, if you can kind of imagine and pretend that I still have these grid lines here, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 colored in, and I know that this side is 6 and this side is 5. I know that 6 times 5 equals 30. So I have 8 out of 30 squares colored in. So this is another way to kind of help you represent and visualize exactly what fractions we're talking about and how you can see them. Maybe if the multiplying straight across doesn't work for you, or you want just an extra visual, this helps a lot with that. It is on the checkpoint, so you do need to know how to do it. But I just wanted to take an extra second and talk this through with you guys. Now, on the checkpoint, you might also get a problem where they will give you, for example, 3/7 times, 2/3. And then they'll just give you a blank box. On some of them, they're going to give you the grid lines just like I did up here. They're going to have those already marked for you. On some of them, they'll give you the blank box just like I had shown you before. So not only is it important that you know how to fill the squares in, like the one on the top, but you also need to know how to make the grid lines and fill them in like this one on the bottom. Okay? What I'd like you to do real quick before you move into the practice is just screenshot this part right here, hit the home button and the power button at the same time, screenshot it, take that picture into whiteboard, and see if you can figure this out on your own. If you're struggling with it or having a hard time with it, send me the picture or the video of you trying to solve it in an email, and I'll work with you to figure it out. Otherwise, you should be able to move on and do these student book pages, no problem. Again, if you have any questions, send me an email or look up a video on YouTube. There's lots of different resources. I'm here to help you guys, but I think this is something that after this brief explanation, I think we'll get. And just because I know a few of my friends will point it out, 8/30ths can be simplified. I'm going to ask you guys to show me how to simplify that on part of your assignment. Just find a little space to write 8/30ths simplified for me. Put an orange star next to it or an orange smiley face next to it so I know that that's what that is. So good luck. You guys are going to do awesome again. Send me an email if you've got questions. I can't wait to see you guys.